Alright, welcome back everyone. Let's continue this Let's Play of John Saul's The Blackstone Chronicles. So, what's pretty nice is that the game doesn't even make you have to load. It'll pop you right back where you made your last save. So, as you recall, we had just entered the women's wing on the second floor. So let's continue exploring. That's the way back. We don't need to go that way. You can see that one of the doors looks like it's open.
How could anyone remember what all these keys go to?
Yeah. You can go in that door there. To one of the patient's rooms.
It's dark in here, Dad.
It'll be okay, Josh. You've got Freddy with you, right?
Yeah?
Okay, well hang on to it. He'll keep you company until I get there.
Okay.
Hello? Is someone there?
Who are you?
I'm Marilyn Wilson. This is my room. Or at least it is until I have my baby. I'm due any day now.
I'm very happy for you.
Thanks. Talk to you later. Bye.
Okay. Is the
The
bear
big
talking?
one's Tommy and the little one's Teresa. I snuggle them every night. Hands off, mister. He's mine. That's little Teresa. After she's born, she'll sleep in the bassinet. Come on, leave her alone.
Let's find out a little bit more about this patient, shall we? Marilyn Wilson was involuntarily committed by her parents when she began complaining of symptoms typical of pregnancy. She was not pregnant, but suffered instead from pseudocyesis, or false pregnancy, a psychosomatic disorder. After her admission, she became clinically depressed and eventually slipped into catatonia, a state in which the patient does not move and is oblivious to external stimulation. As was typical of patients from wealthier families, her family spared no expense to decorate this private room in a style that would make her feel more secure and comfortable. Psychosomatic disorders arise when psychological stress adversely affects the body's functions. Sometimes the patient experiences the physical symptoms without ever becoming aware of the psychological state that gave rise to the dysfunction. In this case, doctors believe that Ms. Wilson became traumatized with worry about a classmate involved in the Korean War, and believed that if she was pregnant, he would be discharged to come home and marry her, thereby ensuring his safety. Treatment for these disorders usually involve hydrotherapy and other relaxing therapies to relieve the underlying psychological stress. In Ms. Wilson's case, this treatment plan was not effective. Pseudocyesis is an illness that mimics the symptoms of pregnancy, including a swollen stomach, morning sickness, and even labor pains. False pregnancy most often occurs in young women who so desperately desire a child that their bodies respond accordingly, although no conception has actually taken place. Women prone to pseudocyesis are more insecure than the general population. They frequently display memory blanks and are inclined to exotic beliefs such as ESP or alien intelligence. The condition may disappear with therapy or degenerate into a severe depressive illness, which is what happened in this case. Depression is an emotional state marked by prolonged sadness, inactivity, and the loss of the ability to enjoy life. It is more common in women than men. That is not true, by the way. I'll explain that later. Other symptoms include loss of appetite, sleep disturbances, apathy, morbid preoccupation with worthlessness, and suicidal tendencies. Patients are likely to complain of feelings of intense hopelessness and helplessness. Long regarded as a purely mental problem, it is now known that depression has its basis in chemical imbalances in the brain. Sadly, in the 1950s, antidepressant drugs had not yet been developed and treatment options were limited. Depression is not more common in women than men. I'll talk about that later. Catatonic schizophrenia is a severe disorder in which the patient neither moves nor talks. Her muscles become rigid, she remains in one posture, and she becomes completely withdrawn, ignoring all external stimuli. The patient may remain in this state for extended periods of time, requiring her to be involuntarily bathed and fed. Roughly 1/3 of patients suffering from this illness recover completely. Another third have occasional reoccurrences. The remainder deteriorate into chronic schizophrenia, many of them dying by suicide. Prognosis is worst for younger patients, especially those who lack a supporting network of family and friends. Well, that's pretty sad.
Patients were allowed to keep personal possessions of special significance to them. This cigarette lighter was a gift of Marilyn Wilson's younger sister, Martha.
What cigarette lighter? I don't see a cigarette lighter.
Doctors sometimes allowed patients to keep items that reinforced their fantasies. According to her medical records, Marilyn Wilson spent hour after hour absorbed in this book of baby names, even though she wasn't pregnant.
I don't have a clue what that is. Somebody must have moved it in here while I was sleeping. I've read it 100 times, but I've decided to name her Teresa. That's a good name for someone whose daddy is named Tommy. Sure, you can have it. No, wait. I'd like to look through it one more time. Hi. Thanks for coming to visit me. Have you seen my cigarette lighter?
Why? Is yours missing?
Yes. It was a present from my sister. You'd recognize it right away. It's shaped like a really neat dragon. I'd be really grateful if you could find it for me.
Tell me about the baby.
She'll be born real soon. I say she, although I really don't know yet. But I'm hoping for a girl.
Aren't you a little young to be having a baby?
Yeah, I know. My parents are furious. That's why they put me in here. But when Tommy gets back, we'll get married and then everything will be okay.
Is he any older than you?
Tommy Gardner. He's my fiancé. He'll be 19 in November.
Why isn't he around to help?
He's in Korea. That's his picture with his army buddies on the bulletin board. Why do they make you wear those things? They look so goofy. It'll never fit. Not in a million years. Stealing from a pregnant woman? Some guy you are. Graduating from high school was the happiest day of my life.
So she must have been at least 18.
That's me with my two sisters, Martha and Margaret. With me named Marilyn, that makes 3 M's. We call ourselves the Three Musketeers. That's Tommy with his army buddies in Korea. Isn't he cute? That's Mom and Dad. They're mad at me right now, but I think they'll change when they get to hold their new granddaughter. They're a gag gift from my girlfriend. No baby's feet could be that small. Besides, they're blue, and I'm going to have a girl. With all the money my parents are spending, you'd think they could spring for more than just one lamp.
I love lamp. Diary. Boy, more reading. Dear Diary, I have started writing to you as that... Oh, I can't read this. Oh, no. Oh, man, I'm having trouble reading this. I can't read it on my small screen. Basically, it's just talking about how she got brought to the asylum and that she can't wait for her baby to be born. But then she thinks it's strange that the people who are in the asylum, the patients are more friendly than the staff. She's not having a good time here. People who really run the asylum are the attendants. She only sees the doctor once a week. The attendants are... She said you don't want to get them mad because then you can end up in the hydro room or solitary. Obviously the attendants do not exactly treat the patients well. Today Dr. Metcalf himself came to visit me. He's a very famous man who has gifts from other famous people all over the world, like the stuff in his mantelpiece and something in his desk drawer. Dr. Metcalf told me that I was very sick. I told him I felt fine, but he just shook his head. He said tomorrow he was going to take me down to the furnace room in the basement, which is pretty strange because, I don't know. I've never heard about a patient going in there for treatment. Oh well, we'll see what tomorrow brings. I'll be sure to write you at the end of the day.
The pages are stuck together.
So we miss a page there. They're stuck together. He told me I needed to learn the difference between fantasy and reality, and then he threw the book right into the furnace. I wouldn't believe he would do anything so mean. I got so mad I started to cry. He was happy that I was crying. He said it wasn't. He said it. I was more connected to reality. I told you yesterday how Dr. Metcalf took me down to the furnace room and the horrible things he did there. Well, today he took me down there again, only this time it was my baby blanket. I had saved it since I was a baby, and I was going to give it to Teresa. Now I don't know what to do. Tommy's in Korea and my parents won't talk to me. The only visitor I've had so far is Martha, it's her sister, and she had to sneak out of the house to see me. She brought the nicest present. It's a cigarette lighter shaped like a dragon. I'm very lonely. Dear Diary, I've been talking with some of the other inmates, and things aren't as nice here as I thought they were at the beginning. I thought everyone had their own room, but that isn't so. Some wards are as crowded you could walk on the beds from one end of the room to the other, without even touching the floor. I've also learned that Dr. Metcalf is mean to more people than just me. Tommy hasn't written me a single letter. Dear Diary, this is the last day I will be writing you. I've decided I don't really want to remember the things that are happening here. After Teresa is born, I will take her and leave this place and never think about it again. I don't think anyone will ever understand how horrible this place is. Thank you for being here. You've been a real comfort. Maybe someday I'll write to you again, but it won't be until I have left this place far behind. Yours truly, Marilyn Wilson. Sorry about that. As I'm looking at this, it just seems like the screen is so small and the cursive is so strange that I couldn't read it, so sorry. You got the gist. One interesting thing about this game is that because these are mental patients...
Hello again.
You're not quite sure what's real and what's
But
not.
I'm still looking.
Thanks.
His name is Joshua. Have you seen him?
Sorry, no.
I've read that the doctors don't believe you're going to have a baby.
Don't be silly.
It's what the doctors call pseudocyesis.
Yes, but that doesn't apply to me. I'm really having a baby.
Maybe you just want to believe you're going to have a baby.
That's ridiculous. Why would I choose to make my parents mad at me and let them lock me up away from all my friends? Whoever told you that is lying.
Why did you start writing everything down?
It was more of a journal, actually. When I first got here, I wanted to write a story about the asylum. But then I got so excited about the baby that I haven't written in it for a long time. You can read it if you want.
You're a good writer.
Thanks. For a long time I wanted to be a reporter. But now I just want to stay home with the baby when she's born.
What's it really like to be here?
It's weird. There's this strange combination of being all alone Yet you're living in a building full of other people. The patients are mostly nice, actually. It's the attendants who act strange. Isn't that odd? But the thing I miss most is my privacy.
How can you feel alone with so many people around?
I miss my family. My parents told my sisters they can't visit, and Tommy is in Korea. The other patients here are nice, but I don't really know them.
You've got your own room. Isn't that private enough?
Well, first of all, everyone on the staff gets to look at all my records. I can understand that because they might need to know something about my medicine or something. But they go way beyond that. I think they want to make sure I'm not secretly talking with Tommy. Do you believe it? They even steam open my mail.
Why do you say they act strangely?
Actually, it's both the doctors and the attendants. They act as if the people here aren't really people. They don't listen. They treat the patients like children. It's like as soon as someone is labeled crazy, they don't count anymore. But a lot of the inmates here aren't really all that nuts. Or even if they are, they still deserve respect. I'm sorry. I shouldn't go on like that. It just makes me angry is all.
2 of the diary pages seem to be stuck together. Can you tell me what's on the second page?
Sorry, I really don't remember.
Tell me about the medical treatments.
Mostly they take me down to the hydrotherapy room. I can always tell when they're taking me there because the attendant gets out that big gray key that opens the door. Right now, I don't remember anything about what happens in there. But that's okay. I'd rather think about the baby.
So that's actually a valuable bit of information. Now we know what key on the ring opens a door to a room elsewhere in the hospital. Also, we begin to see that this place doesn't exactly paint a good picture of sanitariums. And unfortunately, especially in the early days of these kinds of hospitals, treatment wasn't as humane as it should have been. And that's come a long way since then. I mean, you'd be hard-pressed, kind of a lot more hard-pressed to find sanitariums these days. There really aren't that many left in running. A lot of them got shut down, at least in the U.S. I worked at one for a little while. Here's the hydrotherapy room in this rather creepy looking basement.
Hello? My name is Jane. Who are you?
It's nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you too, although the circumstances aren't very pleasant.
Ain't that the truth? From ancient times, drinking and bathing in thermal springs has been an effective therapeutic activity, spawning the development of spa towns all over the world where people traveled to take the waters. Hydrotherapy is the modern descendant of this activity, and it has expanded to include such diverse forms of water treatment as soothing baths, invigorating jets of water, wet packs, steam boxes, and saunas. In the therapeutic environment, the primary purpose of hydrotherapy is to control the body's temperature, either raising it or lowering it according to the demands of the treatment plan. The treatment also had the beneficial side effect of improving circulation. Cold baths decrease the body's temperature, causing blood vessels to close and reducing blood flow. They were generally prescribed to calm nervous irritability. The tubs you see here were large enough for patients to completely submerge themselves in the water. The wooden lids help keep the water temperature constant. Steam heat relieves pain and improves circulation. It induces a relaxed state of rest, which makes it a valuable therapy for agitated and hyperactive patients. The heat causes an increase in metabolic rate and pulse. Blood vessels expand and more blood reaches the extremities. After emerging from the chamber, subjects are generally more relaxed, have a lowered heart rate, and lower blood pressure. As far as I know, that's true. That's how that works in like dry saunas, or steam rooms, I should say. Here's about saunas. Precursor of the modern sauna, the dry heat chamber you see here was designed to remove toxins from the body through perspiration. The heat opened the pores of the skin and the patient's sweat flushed impurities from the system. The chamber was also used as a primitive sensory deprivation device. Patients were enclosed for extended periods to remove the excessive external stimuli that was believed to bring on manic episodes. They also do that sometimes with autistic patients. Cold cloth compresses were effective in reducing headaches, relaxing muscle spasms, and reducing body heat in patients with high fevers. Contemporary research also indicated that inducing hypothermia brought periods of mental clarity to mute, aggressive, combative, and uncooperative patients. Other PAC methods included wrapping the patient in rubber sheets before immersing them in the cold bath. This practice was made much more efficient with the introduction of the thermo-right blanket, more popularly known as mummy bag. The patient was sealed inside the bag and a refrigerant was then circulated through it, achieving a much swifter decline in body temperature. So again, these have a lot of research behind the treatments. Some of them have advanced since then, obviously, but...
Please leave them where they are. They've caused enough misery.